Back with this Blackstar HT Club 40 Mark II Black and Blue Edition. One of the commenters was kind enough to say that no, this amp actually does have adjustable bias, though it's not in the manual and it's not on Blackstar's site. He gave me enough clues to find it in a forum, the procedure for this, and it's really kind of lame. This is not intuitive. The Mark I, there was a bias trim pot on the inside. I could just bias the amp, though on those you had to have something plugged into the input jack or there was no bias supply. So in theory, I can turn this little trim pot here, and note on these tiny little trim pots, you can't see them, but I've got a lot of experience with these. These things are extraordinarily flimsy and don't hold up to any kind of pressure. So the barest pressure to turn. All right, and so this thing was flickering at green before, so it's just on the verge. Right there's where there's no green and no red here should be the bias level, and then this is the bias balance, and I can turn it green, too much to one tube. I can turn it red, too much to the other tube. In the middle, where neither LED is illuminated, is balanced, and this is the range. You turn this till the red comes on here, and then just back it off till that red goes away up top, and then on here you readjust counterclockwise until that goes out, and neither one's illuminated. So at this point, this bias is set correctly according to the factory schematic, which they don't publish according to the factory, which they don't make obvious. And I had Googled the hell out of this the other day to make sure that I hadn't missed some trim pot hidden in the PCB, and it's all available for this side, which is a really non-intuitive way to see things. Anyway, when I first set this up to do this for you guys, I had everything turned counterclockwise for the purpose of this video. When I first powered this amp up in this position so I could see it, we were already right here. So it was already biased correctly in what you saw before. But one poster said, no, you're wrong. It's not fixed bias. You can adjust it. This is an adjustable fixed bias. Some amps have non-adjustable fixed bias, which is what I thought this was, since the bias pot had mysteriously disappeared from the PCB compared to the Mark I. And there's also cathode bias amps, which are rarely adjustable. Mesas are a good example of a non-adjustable fixed bias amp. Some old Princetons from Fender are also non-adjustable fixed bias amps in stock form, though most of us put in little adjustments for them. The larger Fender amps, Marshall amps, most amps, see that little flash when I tapped? Are adjustable fixed bias. Am I right on the edge of that going to red? Might have had a wall search. Anyway, this is what they say to do, so that's what I've done. Back to where I started at, but at least now I know that they put this little thing in here and didn't tell us about it. Wonderful, Blackstar, wonderful.